Welcome back to my old ranch. Beautiful day in Colorado, but winter is coming, and so it's time to winterize the boat. So today, in this video, that's what I'm going to do. It's just got a 351 Windsor in it with an OMC out drive. It's really pretty easy to winterize. There's a couple of different ways to do it. One people like, which I don't prefer. First, you use the rabbit ears, and this goes around the out drive to give it water. But people will use something like this to let the motor suck this up and get this in the engine. What I don't like about this is basically RV antifreeze. What I don't like about this is that a couple years ago I left a gallon jug of this out and it got very cold. And it turned into slush. It didn't freeze solid, but it turned into slush. So if you use this to put in the motor, it's not completely this. It's diluted with some water that was in the engine already. And I don't like that. I just as soon get all the water out of the engine. So that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So stick with me and see what I do. So now we're in the boat and you want to take and pull the engine cover. Now this, you can open this and see the motor, but it's hard to get to everything with this cover on it. So I've got to take the cover off completely. So the first thing I do is I hook up my rabbit ears, hook my hose to it. And one of the things you never want to do is run your motor without water to it. The water pump has a rubber diaphragm. And that diaphragm that's in there, it only takes a very short period of time of running it before it gets too hot and actually melts. And so you ruin your water pump extremely quickly when you don't have water going to it all the time. So I got the hose hooked to the rabbit ears, and you have the intake vents where the water goes into the motor. Your water pump is right in here. So you want to make sure, again, that you have water going to it all the time. So that's the first thing I do. Next thing, I'm going to turn the water on. All right, now I've turned the water on, and you can see it coming out here very well. Let's move the shadow. There's the rabbit ears over the holes for the intake for the water. Now, I'm going to go up and start the motor. Now, what you want to do is on the shifter, this one here, a lot of them have just a button right here. The shifter, you pull this out to move it forward so it doesn't shift it into gear, but you can give it a little bit of gas. All right, so we started the motor. Now what I like to do is I like to bring it up to temperature, let the thermostat open, and I'll feel this right here. This is where the thermostat button is here, and I'll feel the hoses, and when they start to get warm, then I know that it's got water all the way through it, and the whole system is completely flushed. Now the other thing that I like to do is I'll have somebody, which I don't right now, watch the water coming out of the back of the motor, just to make sure that it's nice and clear and we're flushed out all the way. So I'm going to let the motor warm up and I'll be right back. I've got the motor running. You can see the water coming out. I've got a couple holes in here. Also will come out across here. So just want to verify that y'all do what it's supposed to do. And the motor will warm up here shortly. All right, now I've got warmth here, so we're good. Our hoses are warm, so I've got water going through the engine, and I'm ready to shut it off. Now I did check the oil before I started. I didn't mention that. Of course, you always want to check your fluids. Let me turn the motor off. All my gauges look good. Water, oil pressure, everything looks good. Water temperature doesn't really get much more over 40 or 100 before it is opened up. So put this back in neutral. And now we're going to winterize it. Now it's really quite simple. On this side of the motor, you have a, right there, get this thing in position. That's the petcock will let the water out of this manifold. And then for the engine, you can see it right down there. I've got to pull both those out to let water out. Then on this side of the motor, this one's very accessible. This one's right here. Then also back here, you want to pull both of those out. Now you can just open it, but I just as soon pull them all the way out. And then I like to take this hose here that hooks onto the water pump down there. I like to pull it off completely. Then also this hose here that runs down the motor and pull it off completely. That way I know there's no water in the engine anywhere. In some boats, there's another one back in the bellow area. So there's 5 actually valves that you need to pull, plus a couple of hoses. So let me do that real quick, and I'll be right back. You don't really need too much in the way of tools. All I have here that I'm using is just basically a pair of pliers and a screwdriver. So I'll first take the hoses off. I'll pull the clamp out of my way. Of course, you can hear the water draining out. Pull this hose off, pull the clamp out of my way. All right. Same thing here, put this down into the water well. Now we pull these plugs. There's one. The water's probably, it's a little warm, but it's probably not hot. I like to put the plugs over here, go to the other side, and I'll do the same. There's the one. Oops, sorry. Hopefully that's getting it. And I'm pulling both the plugs on this side of the motor. All right, got both of those. And this is all we have to do. Whoops, sorry. Now this is all we really have to do for the motor. And let me go show you one other thing you want to do to the transom to make sure it goes through the winter just fine. All right, now I put the transom all the way down. And this is where you fill the oil for the transom, make sure it's full. It's a good idea to check your fluid. Now what you see here is nice and clean like it's supposed to. If your transom has leaked through the summer in use, this will be milky looking. And if it's milky looking, you want to make sure you change the fluid in your transom and put a little stop leak, which I'll put in the links below that you can put in there to help soften up the seals and seal that up. But you don't want that water inside the transom through the winter time. Not only depending on how much you have, it could cause a problem, but also it'll start rusting your gears and your bearings. So make sure your fluid is full, and if it's nice and clean, then you know your transom's in good shape, and that's a really good thing. I have rebuilt them before, and it is a bit of work, so you don't want to have that happen. So anyway, that's it. So there we have it. I've winterized my boat. It's good for winter, and then come next spring, I'm sure it'll be fine once I put all the plugs in it and fire it back up and get it cleaned up and ready for the lake. I hope you like what I did. Please like, comment. If you think I should have done something different, please let me know. And pretty simple. Didn't really take very long. And now you don't have to worry about your boat throughout the winter. Until next time, like, subscribe, and we will talk to you another day.